can start stream. I forgot to set up everything. Silly me.
Wow.
Okay, now it's connecting.
Oh.
Go live.
Wow. We've got 4,000 views from impressions. People can listen to that conversation. Hi, Malage Gamers. We're just talking about YouTube and the way you watch it. And I sometimes don't want to click on a video, so I just sometimes just watch it without any sound. I just like, is this interesting or not? Because YouTube has subtitles and everything for me because that's what I like it. But anyway, enough of the chat. Today we are talking about loads of things: PlayStations, System Shock, NVIDIA, AI. If you're in Taiwan, like Linus Tech Tips and a bunch of other YouTubers, right, you'll be here for Computex, which is where all the big computer hardware manufacturers, the Steam Deck stuff, the whatever, anything tech gaming related, you're pretty much here in Taiwan. Adam and I in Taiwan, so if you want to come and say hello, please let us know. I mean, you can say hello, why not? Anyway, let's get into the news today. Like I said, lots of stories. Today, let's start with Antoine's story first.
Okay, and just a bookmark for later. I think we should make a show, but just you talking about all YouTube algorithm work, as how to make views video for people like me who are completely illiterate or who want to understand how the algorithm work. Because each time I'm like, I don't get it. Like BCH video for Adam. Most of them are like over 1,000, and after that 17. Why?
I was just looking into the statistics of that, and I know why that last video didn't do that well.
we can do maybe at some point, like
yes, for sure. Yeah.
But okay, so let's start with my first story. So that's something which apparently Twitter really like. I won't say haters, but trolls really enjoy talking about this story. Is that the PS5? So only next gen. Well, that's what GameRun said, and I thought it was true, but Adam told me that there's Returnal and another one which is a remaster. So for me, it doesn't work. Can't. But only next gen, so pure PS5 exclusive, which was Ratchet and Clank. I can't remember the name, but the PS5 Ratchet and Clank will be or has been ported to PC. So apparently, a couple of years ago, when the game came out, they say, yeah, the PS5 SSD is the only gear which can make this game work, and you can't have it on any other machines. And now there's a lot of people on Twitter say, hey, guess what? The PS5 SSD is exactly the same that you have on your computer, and that's why you can port PS5 games on computers. And apparently, Sony is kind of interested in doing that more and more. Just to put it into context, right? Originally, and I can't blame Sony for that, right? They plan to put a lot on more game exclusive to PS5, but COVID, but semiconductors issue, but there's not enough PS5 for everyone. So that's why most of the games went out on PS4 and PS5. They just need to make numbers, right? So in a perfect world without COVID, very likely it would have followed the other trend of a couple of games, in between transition PS4 plus PS5, and then after a few 6 months or something like this, PS5 exclusive would have flourished, I guess. But that was not the case, and very, very few games became PS5 exclusive. Extremely few. Even now, it's quite rare to see exclusive PS5 games, and now you know that they will be ported to PC, which is great for me because lots of PS5 games that I can play. Like for instance, there will be a Ghost of Tsushima 2, which will be definitely exclusive to PS5 for quite a while. But if it comes on PC at some point at a cheaper price or something like this, yay! I'll be happy. So that's why basically I won't buy any more game on PlayStation 4/5 because remember the Horizon DLC which is only available on PS5, which is stupid because I can't play it now. And I'm not gonna rebuy in 2 years when it comes to PC. I'm not gonna rebuy the whole game plus the DLC because I did it already, so that's stupid. So no, that's something which makes me think, well, if there's some exclusive PS5 and even PS4, PS5, let's just wait. It will come on PC. So FF16, at some point, should I buy a PS5 just for PS16 for FF16, or should I wait a couple of years, just make sure that first the game is finished, because FF15 took a couple of years to get finished. Yeah, remember that. So you can just let PS5 take on all the issues, and 2 years later, here's your PC version, all optimized, and the story is finished and everything is done. So here's your full burger, not just here's the bread, and 6 months later here's the meat, and 6 months later here's the tomatoes, and how they like to do games these days. So yeah, for me it's a pretty good news, this kind of thing. Although yes, a lot of people really troll Sony saying, you said it was exclusive, it's not. Shame on you. I don't know what you guys think about it. It makes me laugh, this reaction. It's not that bad for me. I think it's actually a good move from Sony because, they have Microsoft in front and they need to make sales at some point. So what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Adam.
No, I completely agree. I think it's a great thing that they're porting all their stuff to PC. Apparently people were mocking them because they said, oh, this can only run on a PS5 SSD, but then when you open up the PS5, the SSD in the PS5 is the same SSD that you would put into a PC. So apparently that was the issue, was they were like, this is just a regular SSD. This isn't a special kind of SSD or anything like that. But yeah, no, I think it's great that they're going to be porting more of their things over. And I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy 16 is 6 months until the PC release, I think is the plan. I think it's 6 months. I think it's the same as Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So I think that one did get delayed, so I don't know if it'll be out in 6 months, but I think that's the plan.
And just to make it worse, you play it on an Xbox controller.
You can, if you want to, yeah.
But thanks, Sony. Yeah, I can play my FF16 on PC. I don't need to buy an expensive PS5 for that.
We should thank Square for that.
Cool. Yes, exactly. And on PC, where do they plan to release it? Like Steam, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Steam.
GOG or Epic, or I don't know if they have any. Because I saw some Epic exclusive are starting to come on Valve on Steam now.
It might be Epic, actually. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, let's move on to your first story.
All right, so for my first story is that PlayStation did their showcase just last week, and we got a lot of games. But again, continuing with that PlayStation mockery that Antoine was talking about, a lot of the games did not impress people because a lot of them were A, indies, not first-party exclusives, and B, a lot of them are going to be cross-platform. So you're going to be seeing a lot of games that are going to be showing up on Xbox. And in fact, Xbox came out almost immediately and mocked them by, PlayStation had a thing that came out and they said, look forward to playing these games on PlayStation. And then Xbox came out with the exact same picture, basically, but then just said, look forward to playing these games on Xbox because the same games are coming out, because most of these are multi-platform. So it looks like, PlayStation basically just had, marketing rights to them. But the big highlights were Metal Gear Solid Delta, Marathon, Destiny 2. For me, the biggest highlight was Dragon's Dogma 2. Korean and I did a little kind of, what would we call it, a reaction video thing. We did that that was the big one for me. For me, actually, the second one would be Helldivers. And then third for me would have been Metal Gear Solid, just because I've already played Metal Gear Solid. Although I did love Metal Gear Solid 3. I must have played that 3 or 4 times. So I'm like, I don't usually play remakes, but I might actually be tempted to get Metal Gear Solid 3 because it is that good. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of other like really small ones. They got mocked for a few, such as Foam Stars, which looks like what's that? Splatoon. It looks like a Splatoon knockoff. And when I watched it, I'm just like, yeah, even I was like, what is this? Who thought this was a good idea? Like, seeing the trailer for it, it felt like, you ever know how like big companies will sometimes create a product specifically knowing it's going to fail just so they can get the tax returns on it or whatever, It felt like that. It felt like, I don't know. When I saw it, it looked like Square was like, "Hey, we're gonna bomb this," and I don't know who approved of that. It just looked. I mean, the game looks cheesy as all out. Looking at the aesthetic, it's very Fortnite-y. Okay, I understand that, but then when they showed the gameplay, I was like, this looks so stiff. It's just I don't know. But then yeah, then a lot of other indies, a few of them from PC now coming out to PlayStation. But yeah, the big things that people were waiting for, your GTA's, your um, Ghost of Tsushima 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, all these big ones that people were really, really hoping for did not show up. And so because of that, a lot of people are now saying, oh, well, there's going to be a second one. But we'll have to wait and see. Or a lot of people think that maybe now the exclusive ones are going to be released at the Summer Game Fest. But we'll have to wait and see. So for me, I personally think it was great because I saw a lot of games. And this is going back into what we talked about last week. I went in with zero expectations. I had a lot of fun. I saw a lot of things I liked, like Metal Gear Solid, I wish I wasn't expecting. Dragon's Dogma 2, which I was not expecting. Helldivers 2, which I was not expecting. And I was very pleasantly surprised. Whereas a lot of people who went in thinking, like, we're going to see, all these new exclusives and they had expectations were very disappointed. So I'm going to stick by my statement last week and say, go in with no expectations. You're going to end up a lot happier than if you go in expecting something and don't get what you want.
I'm so happy with this debate last week because it's exactly that, right?
It was exactly 100% that. Yeah, people who went in with no expectations, you could see them. They're like, Helldivers 2, this is awesome.
Hey,
And then other
nice.
people who went in with expectations, there's like, where's my Ghost of Tsushima 2? The only thing there was Spider-Man. Everything else sucked. So it was very much that line.
I'm still gonna push for expectations and rumor and speculation because I think, this idea of disappointment is very much a generational thing. I think, like, if you care, like, at 40 something, do we care if our favorite game is coming out this year? No, we don't care, right? Just like Antoine mentioned, like, he loves Final Fantasy 16. He's gonna wait 2 years until it comes out, and I'm very much getting to that point where I used to subscribe to all these like game on a sale emails from like Deku Deals for Nintendo Switch, and I used to be buying Switch games like at least multiple times a year on sale. I'm like, now I'm just like the Switch catalog plus the Steam catalog plus the plus the family sharing as well that I have going on Steam, and it's really too much. Like, I I can buy anything because at the moment I'm playing Valheim, I'm playing V Rising, and there's no other time to play anything else at all. And even there's still 1 or 2 days a week usually where I'm like, oh my god, I'd like to play stuff, but it's impossible just because too busy, right? No, I think this is a generation thing. If you're 20s, maybe 30s, maybe you're a hardcore gaming fan at 40 something who really cares. I think most people are like, okay, I didn't see GTA. All right, well, I'll just keep an eye out for it and see what happens.
Adam, on what you said, so you mentioned the MGS. Is that a proper MGS 6 or is that a demo like they did like Ground Zero?
No.
Or
So what they're
Phantom,
doing is
whatever?
they're releasing Metal Gear Solid Collection, which is going to be 1 and 2,
Oh,
and then they're doing Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. So they're just it's basically like Resident Evil 2 remake, but with Metal Gear Solid
that's a
3.
good idea. That's a good idea. Yes, Snake Eater was fantastic.
Yeah. So they're going to be doing Snake Eater from the ground up.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's because Hideo Kojima is gone, so they can't do number 6 now.
I mean, they can, but I guess they decided maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe.
Do they
With
own
the
the rights
talent,
for the Metal Gear games?
I don't think so. Well, for the new ones, I think it's Hideo Kojima's new company, right? Or
He
you know
started his
that?
own. He started.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But did he go with the right to the IP or
No. Konami still owns the rights.
still on? Okay,
Yeah, he doesn't own any of the rights. He's out.
he's just a writer at the end.
It's hard to sort of own the rights to something. I mean, no matter what, like if you're in the last 10 years or so, if you're working for an organization, be it Harvard or AMD or Konami, right, and you make an IP, IP belongs to the company, right? It's very hard unless you're a superstar person. No, actually, there's no more superstar people anymore. No matter who you are, your stuff belongs to the company you work for, right? Just like at Cisco as well, at where
Of
I work.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Miyamoto left Nintendo, I don't think he gets to take Mario with him, right?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately not. On the topic of remakes, today I'm going to be talking about the System Shock remake, which is it's out. It's reviewed pretty well. I'm going to first preface this by saying, Korean, what are you talking about? You don't like scary games, and you're right. I don't like scary games. I'm not going to play this game, but I think it looks fantastic. I mean, Night Dive did an awesome job. To be honest, I think this is the best looking remake I've seen in a while. Like when I saw this game and I saw that this was originally a 1994 game, I'm like, oh my god, this is so pretty. Like I like compared to other remakes, and again, like have I played a remake? Like I played like remastered HD versions. And I mean, like, there's so many different terminologies and stuff. And I believe Adam, I think maybe the three of us talked about this, like remasters and remakes and like HD remakes and this sort of stuff. Um, I think it looks good. Reviews are good so far. It is like 700 reviews in Steam. Again, I think this is just going to be a very niche game for people who are maybe have heard about it or interested in it, who used to play this back in the like early old 90s when I was. This came in 1994, so I would have been 12 years old then. So yeah, but yeah, beautiful game. My experience with remakes, I did play. Oh God, what is that samurai game? That was came after Duke Nukem back in the day. I played that.
Neo.
No, on PC.
Oh.
I can't remember. It's not. I want to say Samurai Showdown, but it's not that.
Gaiden something?
Ninja
No.
Gaiden is Xbox.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. People, you guys will know it's it doesn't anyway. But yeah, my point is that yeah, it's out. Give it a try if you're interested. I'm interested in some new remakes, and especially this quality of level of remake. Like, though I think like I was considering buying Diablo 2 remastered at some point, and Diablo 2 looks beautiful. Though a lot of reviews said, "Hey man, that like you can't go back and play 10-year-old mechanics, right?" And I'm like, oh my god, that's so true. Because speaking of that like samurai FPS game, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. Like this like 10 years ago, the game was like, hey, think. You have to figure out where to go. You have to figure out how to overcome this obstacle. I don't want to think. I have 60 minutes to game. Sorry. Tell me how to do it now.
I want comfort.
Yes, exactly. Don't waste my time. I want some satisfaction, some dopamine hits, right? To say I did something today, right? I accomplished something. I just didn't have my manager totally rewrite my social media context, and I just failed again today as a social media manager, right? So that's another story altogether. But yeah. So I'd love a remake, but I'd love a remake with some modern essential mechanics changed, right? Like they didn't do it for Diablo 2, which why it used to be. I was gonna buy it on the Switch. I'm not buying it anymore because, yeah, no, I can't deal with old gameplay mechanics anymore. They were cool when I was 30 or when I was 20 or when I was a teenager. If they're not cool anymore, I don't know what you guys think. Oh, one thing I want to ask you guys as well as your thoughts is the game you'd like to have remade today, and mine would be XCOM Enforcer, which I played when I was living in Massachusetts, and I was playing on like an old Pentium PC. And you're a robot, and it was like a third-person shooter game as an XCOM game. It was super fun, and I remember the final battle you're fighting 30 gray aliens, and it was cool. But I'd love an HD remake of that, or remake. Yeah. Anyway, all right, we go Antoine. What do you want, and what do you think about remakes?
So first of all, I think you said it's niche, but it might work because it's very flavor of the month, right? A space shooter, we had the Callisto Protocol not too long ago, Dead Space remake, all of these. So it might work, if you really like this kind of games, try it. That's not really for me, but I can understand why it would work, especially at this period. Game I would like to see remade. I'm thinking Total Annihilation.
Yes.
that was a fantastic FPS. RTS. Sorry about that. And that was fantastic. It's really old. I tried to play it again not too long ago. It hurt the eyes a little bit. So a proper remake, and I'm talking about a proper one, not like what they tried to do with Red Alert not too long ago, a few years ago. It was fun to play for the nostalgia, but quality of the remake was so right. So proper remake of Total Annihilation. And if possible, some keys and like give me money so I can play it for you and advertise. Woo! With pleasure. I'll play with Korean.
Yeah, I'm done with that. Adam, what about you?
I would have to go with. I'm caught up on between Bushido Blade and Vagrant Story, and I might have to just go with Vagrant Story just because that's more of a
Yes.
story, whereas Bushido Blade is just a 2-player versus kind of thing. So I guess I would have to go with Vagrant Story for a remake. Yeah.
Cool. And Adam mentioned Bushido Blade. You should go back, check out the old episodes where he spent some time talking about it as well.
Yeah, I would say between the two, I would want a remake of Vagrant Story, and I would want a reboot of Bushido Blade. I would want a new entry, I guess.
That'd be a good idea.
All right, let's move on to everyone's second story, and starting with Antoine's second story.
Street Fighter 6 got a very, very good mark on Metascore or something like this. Metascore 93, and apparently it got fantastic marks everywhere. It's a game which comes out in a couple of days on June 2nd, and apparently it's really, really good. It's made with the RE engine, the Resident Evil engine, which gonna make. So you saw it on our Resident Evil 7. You will see it soon on Dragon Dogma 2 as well. So it's gonna be a very pretty game, and apparently an exceptional entry to the license. And I always like the cheesy scenarios in this. And last week we talked about the pressure that this is putting on our friend. I can't remember the studio who makes Tekken, but Tekken 8 now is under pressure to release fast and good game, because the Mortal Kombat 1 looked really cool. The Street Fighter has been exceptionally well reviewed, and the 93 for a fighting game, it's good, huh? Especially a license like this. They can't really make any mistake, right? So I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna watch tournament about it. I really like to watch tournament, with the commentator going wild about talking about commenting like live event, like if you were in Vegas watching a boxing game, just commenting a screen, but they are so into it. It's always super fun. So I'm definitely gonna watch some of these.
What do you think, Adam?
I'm not much of a fighter kind of game guy, with the exception of oddballs like Bushido Blade or Super Smash. I tend to like the ones that are a little bit different. But is this one gonna have the same character customization that the previous one had character customization, right? And people were making all those weird things. Was that Street Fighter? Or was that a different game?
I don't think so,
I think it
no.
was Street Fighter. Where it had like a
I
make
think
your
there's
fighter thing.
I don't remember that. I remember that some of the characters, just change a bit between iteration of the games. I think it's Ken was a weird goatee this time, which makes me think, ugh.
Oh yeah, they were saying like everyone's older in this one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like Cammy's in her 40s now.
Yeah. Oh, shame. And Guile as well looked pretty good. But yeah, we'll see what they're gonna bring out. What kind of stories they're gonna bring.
Hey, do you think this sort of genre is going to eventually fade away? Like RTS games have somewhat faded away in a sense, like they're not as popular as they were in the StarCraft, Warcraft days, right? Like in a sense that the kids who are in their teens now, grew up playing Fortnite, are growing up playing Roblox, right? And now that when they move into their 20s and 30s, right, they're not going to be the people who are going to keep buying the Street Fighter franchise, right? And the people who are buying the Street Fighter franchise now, when they're in their 50s and 60s, right, or when we're in our 50s and 60s, we're not going to be spending money on Street Fighter, I imagine, right? So Like a lot of people have said RTS games have faded away. My best bet is I think these games, Smash Brothers as well, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, is not going to be what it is in the next 5 years.
I can't agree with that. Sorry, just I see that the Mortal Kombat. Which one was it? Like 11, the last one.
One.
At the no, the previous one.
Oh, the previous one was
Was it,
11, yeah.
It had a massive success. Street Fighter 5 as well. Don't forget that these games are the bloodline of esport, because esport revolve around these and the Fortnite, Valorant kind of games. So it's a massive part of the industry. I can't imagine them going away, especially when they make such good game with. Because before it was just an odd cast of combatants fighting each other. Now they put an actual scenario, very cheesy one, but very cool scenario, and each character has their own story, and it's really interesting to see them evolving between each game. So no, I really think it's gonna last for quite a while, but again, that's just my opinion. Look, in one year you had Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and they are all pretty much quite hyped on. So
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat with Antoine, where I would say they will be left alive due to esports. I think esports is where they thrive. And yeah, there's still I don't think there's quite as many. I remember on the PlayStation there were like the original PlayStation, there were just tons of fighting games, and we would go out and rent a different one like every single week. There were just so many different ones. Whereas I don't think there are so many now, but the big titles, Street Fighter, Tekken, to a lesser extent DOA, Mortal Kombat, was it Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, they all have esports leanings at this point. I mean, that was even one of the big things with Dead or Alive 6, where people were saying they're toning down the sexuality because they want it to move into that esports space. So I think basically they will survive, but I think they'll survive as more of a through esports than being a popular genre on their own. Yeah.
I think it's you look at what like you said, the bloodline of esports, right? The bloodline of esports is Dota, is League of Legends, right? Those are the esports genres that make money, right? Whereas fighting games, right, they're not making money, they're losing money, right? Esports money, I remember reading an article in VentureBeat, right? I think esports has lost $10 billion, right? In the last 1 year or so, because, right, it's just it's not a money making thing unless you're commanding the audience that Dota does or that League of Legends does, right? So it's interesting, and I don't hope for the death of it. I just think it's a generational thing. It's my theory, and again, as Antoine said, right, it's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Is that it will possibly fade away, but it's interesting.
But I mean, Evo is one of the biggest gaming tournaments out there, and it's dedicated purely to fighting games.
But again, is it making money for the organizers in this last 2 years of macroeconomic environment? No, it's not.
I have no.
There's no, I don't know. No, it's not, because they lost.
I want to see data.
No, because I mean, how are they going to make money, right? It's they spend all this money for stadiums and organizing and music and paying salaries for people, right? And it's what, who's sponsoring them, right? And how are they going to make money, right? If I'm sponsoring FaZe team, right? How's Space going to, like, what am I getting for my money, right? Well, I wouldn't be getting anywhere. That comes into marketing as well, right? Like, ad spend has dropped immensely, right? Because, right, at the end of the day, right, we have to save money as a company, right? And we're not going to spend money on this gaming franchise if it's not going to give us the same ad spend that we could get spending it on YouTube or spending it on Facebook or spending it on the Clippers stadium, right? Whatever it is, right? Esports in terms of tiered advertising is not giving you the best bang for buck anymore anyway, in an environment of increased interest rates, increased inflation. Yeah. All right. Yes, I'm gonna die on that hill.
That's fine. You can die on the hill. I'm fine with that.
Moving on to Adam's second story.
All right, so my second story is the Q-Lite alternatives because apparently that was one thing I didn't mention earlier because this is my second story. The Q-Lite was, excuse me, the Q-Lite was announced or revealed, I should say. People already knew about it at the PlayStation Showcase, and it left a lot of people scratching their heads thinking, why? For the exact same reasons that we were thinking, why? When we brought it up before. Basically, it is a dedicated remote play device. It has an 8-inch screen, and it looks like somebody just took a DS5, cut it right down the middle, and then snapped it onto where the Switch Joy-Cons should go. So you're gonna get an 8-inch screen out of it. And other than that, it doesn't seem like it's really going to be doing much because you still require a PlayStation 5 to stream your games from. And as far as we know, it has to be over a local network. So who knows if you can even do it over the internet anyway. So if you're on the bus and you have Wi-Fi, who knows if you can still connect to your PlayStation on your home network? Who knows? But anyway, it has a lot of people searching for alternatives because, as I pointed out when we talked about this the first time, I can already do this, and you can too. So there's definitely a lot of alternatives out there. The Backbone is the one that people seem to be recommending that is officially licensed by Sony. So I do believe it has haptic feedback. Maybe it doesn't have haptic feedback, but it recognizes it as a haptic controller. So that's the big one. But you can also use things like the SteelSeries Stratus Plus, the Razer Kishi V2, Razer Raiju Mobile, Razer Edge Handheld, Logitech G Cloud handheld. So these are just a bunch of alternatives out there. If you
Can
want
you show us
to,
the Backbone, Adam?
the Backbone is this one right here. It's the one
Oh,
in
that
the
is the
front.
Backbone?
This is the Backbone. The one in the back is the Q-Lite, and the one in the
Oh.
front is the Backbone.
Oh, cool.
So it has the offset sticks. Basically, they just took the regular Backbone, painted it white, and then officially licensed it PlayStation. That's essentially what they did. Oh, and they
Who
changed the
makes the
buttons to say
Backbone?
triangle, square, circle, and X.
Who makes the Backbone?
That's a good question. I don't remember who makes the Backbone, but they've made, because recently they previously only had it for the iPhone, but now it's out for Android. Let's see.
Backbone, PlayStation.
Doesn't say here.
Backbone 1X. Oh, it's just the company's name is called Play Backbone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Confirm.
So I have a Samsung Glap Play that works really well. I had previously bought another one after Christmas, but the sticks on that one weren't that great. They were really more of a D-pad with an analog thing on top, so it wasn't very. It was I was kind of janky to do aiming with it. So I ended up getting a Glap Play, which has pretty good reviews. So I've been using that. But yeah, there's again if you were looking forward to the PlayStation Q-Lite, you can already do that with devices that you have at your home right now. And you can even, if you really wanted to, you can buy a clip. You can take a DS5, and there's clips that you can buy that you can clip your phone onto the top of it. So, yeah. And
so if you're from Sony and watching this show, please come to our show next week and
explain your
explain
thinking, yeah.
And defend your product because we are not convinced.
Yeah. I mean, I can't hold this because there's no, as far as I've seen, there's no thing wide enough. This is 10 inches. So this is a bigger screen than what they have. But, I can use this for remote play if I want to. And I can sync up my PlayStation 5 controllers with it. And I could just use my, my Tab A8 if I want to. So, yeah, I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. And especially because they didn't release a price point yet, so it'll be interesting to see what the price point is, but I think that's going to be the real thing, because if it's $100 or more, people are going to be like, why would I want to buy that when I can just buy this extra peripheral that I can clip onto my phone for $30, right? So yeah, I don't know.
Cool. No, I'm still not a big fan of streaming, as I explained to you guys. I remember the Steam Deck, and I think I've talked about the Steam Deck, the Steam streaming box. I talked about this before. It's just putting it in, clicking stream, and even like the streaming app on your iPad or your phone at the moment. and just leaving my computer on and then clicking stream. It's just way too much work, which is why I like the Switch or I like the Steam Deck or whatever it is. It's just get into bed. I don't have to have it already booted on. Click on the power button, maybe turn my light into a nice little gaming mood lighting. Yes, that sounds weird. And then stop playing. That's it. I like it simply. I mean, to me, I don't see a market for me anyway for streaming devices, but I think this is cool. Gamers need more options, and it's good.
Like I said before, though, I mean, in terms of that, as long as your PlayStation is in sleep mode, I mean, I could turn it on right now if I wanted. So,
But it's still an extra step, and even less. That sounds super lazy. I apologize, but no, I don't want to do
is
that.
it though? I mean, it's just I click the app and then it wakes up the PlayStation automatically. I mean, is that an extra step?
That is an extra step for me, yeah.
But I just click the app. I'd have to click the app anyway.
Because you have to open up your phone and scroll to wherever the app is on your phone, and then open up the app and then click. That's steps.
I guess. I mean, like that. But I mean, is it any more steps than turning on a switch and then?
A switch is a single button. That's it.
So this is 2 buttons. This is open the screen and then press the app button.
I mean, you have to, fingerprint your phone or put in your PIN code, wherever you have to do. You have to scroll through your number of apps that you have if it's not on your home screen. And you're not going to put that on your home screen unless you're gaming all the time.
I
right?
do.
No. I dislike the idea of streaming. I haven't found it. I mean, it's similar to the idea of VR for me at the moment. It's to me, it's just like in the Chinese word, right? Like tai ma fan, right? Too much of a bother. Um, I I want things to be easy, just like in real gaming or fakey gaming. I guess yes, easy. If it's not easy, I don't have time for it.
Well, I'll disagree with you on the ease of use, but I do agree that streaming I don't think is the right it's not something I enjoy. Latency for me is the issue.
But I think there is that market though, because I still see Reddit and Twitter and stuff. Guys posting about, oh my God, my wife's using the TV. Oh, I want to play my PlayStation game. I can't use it right. And even though most people have like more than one nice TV in their house, right? But at the end of the day, right, you want to be playing on your QLED or OLED or 8K TV rather than your 42-inch LCD TV that's down in the kitchen somewhere.
Well, also you'd have to move a console, so
Yeah. Cool. Antoine, any thoughts about streaming?
I tried, didn't work. I'm not a big fan of it. It's just, I'm not a big, I'm not very big with OBS and all these kind of things, with PC-wise streaming. So it's always a pain for me to set up, and the result is not satisfying. And when you stream and there's 0 people viewing your thing anyway, why do you even bother? I know that you have to start from somewhere, to stream. It's just that you need to get invested into it. And I don't feel that I have the time to get invested into it. So I'd much rather, start OBS, record 2 or 3 hours of play if I can, and then cut it and put whatever I want on YouTube. If I could stream easily and not make a fool of myself, maybe I would. But when you stream and you have no idea what the other party is hearing, is he actually hearing correctly? Is the sound game well adjusted to my voice? When I was doing Subnautica, if I didn't ask a French friend of mine to listen, so she could tell me, oh, I think that you have two microphone connected so that I can hear you twice. I don't have feedback on this, so it's an art to stream. It's not that easy, or I'm just too old, I don't know. But you need to be a little tech savvy to stream properly. I don't know how to do that. I would need to have a training or something. And unless I have this, I just don't like to do something of really bad quality. I like Adam's video, like the latest short on Besiege with all the cuts and the well timed music and everything. That's something that I really love because it's proper, it's nice, it's look professional. So the one I'm doing on Death by, well, anyway.
Death's coming.
Yeah, this is coming. Yes, thank you. So when I did like this, it's really out of desperation because I don't know how to do anything else other than that. So and I don't really like this. I really want to do something proper. I don't know, so no streaming for me.
All right, let us move on to my second story. And my second story is, of course, about TIEx or Computex going on at the moment. NVIDIA, I think they just had their keynote, but they announced this early. You might have seen this video. Basically, this is sort of like somebody going to like a cyberpunkish situation, and he talks to this guy at a sushi bar, and he says, and he's actually in the game. He's using his voice, and he's saying, hey, blah, 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 right? There's no like Mass Effect options or typical dialogue options. You like click this option, right? And you just speak and the guy responds to you, right? And again, I want to give props to the guy who did the Skyrim mod for Lydia, right? Where you can actually, this sort of similar idea, you can talk to Lydia and Lydia uses ChatGPT to reply to you. So this apparently is the future of gaming. And one of the coolest things about this as well is this is done in the cloud, right? So I guess it's kind of cool, kind of bad. So the days of you running all this on your computer is going to be impossible, right? Unfortunately, running large language models on your computer to sort of do this is not going to happen. So this is going to force online only game requirements for a lot of games in the future. But I think we're already moving to that direction anyway. But it was just a cool technology. And again, if you're familiar with NVIDIA, most people would, right? NVIDIA's stock price went up by $600 billion in the last 1 week alone. So if you're lucky enough to buy NVIDIA stock last year, you should be a happy person because you've made a lot of money. Not financial advice, let me remind you. But yeah, NVIDIA, cool technology. I definitely think it is the future of RPGs, or dialogue-based games, even visual novels, right? Where you have AI generating what you can say back. And yep, that is it for my third story.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
I watched
really
the
cool.
video.
Like for immersion-wise. Yeah, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying that for immersion, it's fantastic. It's just that if you say something and for somehow the other, because you have a very strong French accent or something, the other party didn't understand what you were saying and answer something completely out of the way, that's gonna break your immersion very fast. So it's, even though there's a chat GPT kind of answer in front, the framework around it will be kind of a headache, I think, for a video game maker. But definitely in 10 or 20 years, it's going to be great.
Definitely not 10 or 20 years. It's going to be like 2 or 3. Like even take your accent, for example, right? Go back 1 year when we first started doing this podcast, right? The script had a horrible time recognizing the way you spoke English, right? Come 1 year later, it is like 90% better, right? Like when I make shorts and I'm doing the captions and I'm sometimes editing stuff out, right? You and Adam are actually on par for 40 to 50-second shorts.
Okay, fair enough. I still think that you can't have ChatGPT answering whatever they want in a game. You need to follow a script and a story, right? So you really need to put a framework around it to orientate what they're gonna say.
Yeah, you just make a localized learning model for that game, right? That's all it is. Just like the guy did for Skyrim, right? He just say, hey, this is all the dialogue in Skyrim. Use this to talk. That's all it is.
All right. Well, let's see. I mean, I'm a believer. I'm just not an optimistic person. So.
What do you think, Adam?
Well, first I'm going to have to apologize. I had to pause the video because my computer was chugging along at CPU usage 77% just to play the video, and now that I've turned it off, it's down to 14. So apparently this is actually a very large video. So my computer was struggling with it. But I did watch the video, and I have to say it was impressive, but you can definitely tell it's not there because the intonation, the inflection, you could tell it was an AI talking, because it was one of those things where he walks in and the person's like, oh hey, any trouble? And he's like, yes, lately I've been troubled because I've been dealing with some people who have been messing with things in the neighborhood. I'm not sure who it is, but I have some ideas. You know, it's very direct and matter of fact. So it did feel like it just you could tell that it wasn't really acting. It was just reading the lines. So as far as being able to respond, I think that's definitely going to be really there soon. As far as being able to get past the uncanny valley of having human inflection and emotion, to the point where you can tell like this person is distressed or this person is upset or this person is slightly irritated, but you know, or they were having a good day until you came in and asked this question, and this kind of ruined it for them. You know, I think that's going to be the next hurdle to overcome. But yeah, as far as the ability to go into a game and talk to the characters this way, I think that's going to be really exciting. And I think, and it was one of the things where you could, it's like, okay, you know, I can get past this. You know, there's a, you know, I can say, okay, fine, it's annoying, but yeah, my only concern is similar to kind of what Antoine was saying, where, you know, can you break the game with this? Like, how much information can you get out of the characters and with the before you hit a brick wall and they're just kind of like, sorry, I don't know anything else, you know? Um, so like, you know, like for example, if I start asking, you know, this guy about his personal life, like, oh, how are things with the wife? You know, he's like, oh, things are going great. You know, it's like, oh, how are the kids? You know, so like at a certain point, you know, like how much back, you know, because a human, when you're talking to him, has memories. We have backstory. You know, you to create all that for a single character, you know, to be able to create an entire life for every single character in a game is a daunting task. So you are going to eventually have to hit a wall where it's kind of like, you know, right now in games where you hit the invisible wall, you've walked too far, the game doesn't render that far, right? These are the parameters of the game that you can stick within. So it'll be interesting to see how they when you get to that point where you start asking a character things that are outside of, you know, their programmed knowledge, trying to get more of a realistic response out of them. It'll be interesting to see. So I'm curious. I'm curious, I think is the right word.
With how many minutes to go? With 3 minutes to go, I want to add Backbone. Backbone is an American company, so those of you who care where your devices come from, know that you'd be buying American if you do buy a Backbone. Or if you buy a Razer solution, be buying Taiwanese. No, Razer is American. I always get that confused. Buying American again. Yep. So 3 minutes to go, guys. Final thoughts about gaming this week. Antoine.
It has been a pretty quiet week. I mean, I had some hard time finding some good news to talk about in this podcast. So we'll see. Maybe next week will be more interesting with the release of Street Fighter 6 and things like this. And very soon Diablo 4.
Oh, did you not see the new the Diablo? One of the Diablo 4 reviews is already out. I think that's what kind of irritated me as well. It's like I sometimes feel like, oh, because Diablo is this franchise, they're like, hey, oh, it has bugs, but it's still amazing, so we give it a 9 out of 10. What the hell? And they don't judge indie games with that same nice attitude. But yeah. Anyway, that is off topic. Adam, what about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm probably just gonna do. I still need to beat Persona 5, so I'm still working on that, and then Besiege probably for the stream. So yeah, I'm debating as to what my next build project's gonna be, because I'm gonna be streaming Final Fantasy 16 when that comes out, and that comes out in a few weeks. So I don't want to start something else, you know, and then get into that and then be like, oh no, I have to stop in the middle of it. So I'll probably just be streaming Besiege, maybe a little bit of Frozen Flame. I finally got Flight back, so I can start getting into the higher islands and start building again. I might do that as well. So
you should really try Star Sector. I'm sure you would love that.
Star Sector, I'll have to look that up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to stay tuned, or I shouldn't say stay tuned. Don't forget to check out Adam's streams, even if you watch it live or if you don't watch it live. We know a lot of you like watching Adam after the fact. Let us know if we need to change times. Maybe we need to stream at a better time. And otherwise, we will see you guys same time next week, Wednesday or Tuesday, wherever you are. And take care.
Bye.
Bye.